Hello friends, today's topic of discussion is based on life cycle of Funaria. Again, here we are not going in details, just we are focusing on the important things or highlights in the life cycle of Funaria. Means today's lecture is related to life cycle pattern of Funaria, not details life cycle of Funaria. So life cycle pattern of Funaria. Systematic position or classification. It is belong to division Bryophyta, then class Bryopsida, order Funariales, family Funariaceae, and genus Funaria. This Funaria is commonly called as moss. The class Bryopsida is commonly called as the mosses. Means this class includes all mosses. In case of Hepaticopsida and Anthoceratopsida class, the plant body is the thalloid. But here in the Bryopsida, in mosses, the plant body is erect and leafy. Okay, the centrally located main axis is there. The main axis produce toward the lower side rhizoids and towards its upper side the leaves. So in this way the mosses are look like a small angiospermic bushes. Okay, then its occurrence. Funaria is the most widely distributed and common moss. Funaria moss is most common and widely distributed, which grow in close tufts on damps. Tufts means group, which grows in close tufts on damp and shady walls, rocks and tree trunks. As you know that bryophytes are growing in moist and shady conditions. Like that, this Funaria also prefers the shady condition, moist condition. It grows on the moist walls, then moist damp rocks, okay, as well as the tree trunks. So this is the most common occurrence of the Funaria. Then gametophytic plant body. We already studied what is meant by gametophytic plant body. Gametangia producing plant body is called as the gametophytic plant body. Male gametangium is the anthridium and female gametangium is the archegonium. Okay. Now the external characteristics of gametophytic plant body means main plant body of the Funaria. Number 1. The mature gametophyte of Funaria consists of an erect leafy axis attached to the substratum with the help of rhizoids. Okay, you see the first photograph. First photographs gives the plant body of the Funaria containing gametophytic structure as well as the sporophytic structure. Basal structure is the gametophytic structure having the central axis or main axis. Okay, main axis produces the rhizoids toward the substratum, and toward the upper side main axis produces the many leaves. So this is the matured plant body of the Funaria, which is gametophytic plant body. Number 2, the axis is upright. Upright means erect, saral, slender, okay, 2 to 3 centimeter in height and branched. The main axis is erect, upright, slender, 1 to 3 centimeter in height and branched. Okay. Number 3, the axis is covered with leaves. Okay, the axis is covered with leaves which are spirally arranged. Their arrangement is the spiral. Okay, the leaves are simple. Okay, sessile, without stalk. Sessile means without stalk. Then ovate, that is the structure, ovate, and have a broad membranous base. The base of the leaf is broad and membranous and pointed apex. And apex of the leaf is pointed. You see in the next diagram number C, there is a leaf structure. The leaves at the base, it is a broad, and at the tip it is a pointed, and at the center there is a prominent midrib. So this is the very simple structure of the leaf. Number 4, at the base of plant body many branched slender and multicellular rhizoids are present. Okay, at the base of the plant body, many branched, slender and multicellular rhizoids are present. Okay, they are characterized by presence of oblique septa. The septum in the rhizoids is the oblique. So septum is the oblique. Then rhizoids function is anchorage and absorption of the it is a absorbing organ, means absorption of water and minerals. Anchorage means it can fix to the substratum so that it can give mechanical support to the plant body. In the last photograph, that is the photograph of rhizoids, their multicellular branched obliquely placed septa, this diagram is given. So matured plant body, gametophytic plant body of the Funaria is made by erect main axis, which is covered by spirally arranged leaves. At the base, multicellular branched rhizoids are there. Okay. Then internal structure of the stem. Okay, internal structure means anatomy of the stem. You should take transverse section of the stem, then you will get the detailed structure of the internal organization. Point number 1. A transverse section of the mature axis shows three distinct regions. One is epidermis, another cortex, and third one is the central cylinder. So these are the three main parts of the transverse section or stem anatomy. One is epidermis, second cortex, and third one is the central cylinder. Epidermis is protective covering, cortex is the food storage region, and central cylinder is the vascular cylinder. Okay, so in this way, this is the very easy functioning of these three parts. Now point number 2, epidermis. It is the outermost layer. Okay, it is outermost layer composed of tangentially elongated chlorophyllous cells. These cells are tangentially elongated. You see in the diagram, cells are tangentially elongated. Okay, and they are chlorophyllous. They having the chloroplasts. The epidermal cells having the chloroplast, so they are chlorophyllous. Okay, it has no pores or stomata. The epidermis of the axis or stem, axis of in the title, in green colored title, anatomy of axis or stem असं पाहिजे होतं, पण तिथं ऑफ स्टेम झाले. anatomy of axis or stem असं पाहिजे बरं का. either you should read or instead of off. Okay, anatomy of axis or anatomy of stem. Okay, then epidermis is outermost layer composed of tangentially elongated chlorophyll cells, and it do not having the pores or stomata. Number 3, cortex. It is a large parenchymatous zone. Okay, this zone, cortex zone, is made by parenchymatous cells, and which is the largest region. Major portion of the stem is occupied by the cortex. Okay, it is a large parenchymatous zone between the epidermis and central cortex. This region in between the epidermis and central cylinder. The cells of young axis contain chloroplasts. In case of young axis, the cells of cortex contain the chloroplast. At all cells of the cortex of young axis are alike. In young condition, all cells are similar in structure, but at maturity they shows variation in their size. Okay, function of cortex is storage of food material. Okay, number 4, central cylinder. It is composed of long, colorless and thin-walled cells of smaller diameter. The cells of cortex is cells of cortex shows the larger diameter, but in case of central cylinder, the cells are smaller in diameter. Okay, number 4, central cylinder. It is composed of long, colorless and thin-walled cells of smaller diameter. They help in conduction of water and nutrients. They can plays a function of conduction. They can conduct water as well as the nutrition. Okay. Then anatomy of the leaf. The leaf has a very simple structure. Okay. You see in the photograph, there is no any complexity in the anatomy. Then number 2, the lamina is composed of a single layer of large thin-walled cells which are rich in chloroplasts. Okay, the leaf lamina is made by the single layer. You see toward both sides from the midrib region, lamina is single layered having the chloroplasts. These cells form the main photosynthetic tissue of the plant body. In case of gametophytic plant body, these cells are the major source of the photosynthesis. So they can prepare their own food material. Then number 3. The midrib in the central part of the lamina is composed of a small strand of slightly thickened and narrow cells which help in conduction. At the center, midrib is there, and in the midrib the smaller cells are there and compared to the leaf lamina, and these smaller cells are or slightly thickened cells are works for the conduction of water, minerals as well as the food material. Okay, so at the center midrib is there. Midrib contain the slightly thickened cells. They are narrow cells working for conduction of water, minerals as well as the food material. Number 4. The leaf does not have stomata or hairs. These leaves are very simple, so that these leaves do not having any stomata or any epidermal hairs. Okay. Now the vegetative reproduction in Funaria. The vegetative reproduction caused by many ways in the Funaria, but we are considering here 2 examples or important examples of the vegetative reproduction. First one is the fragmentation of primary protonema. Primary protonema means what? When the spore germinates, and after spore germination the protonema is develops, which is the juvenile stage, means which is the initial stage of the gametophytic plant body. When protonema matures, protonema converted into gametophytic plant body. Okay, and this protonema developing after the germination of Funaria spore. So first vegetative reproduction type, fragmentation of primary protonema. On germination of spore gives rise to a branched filamentous structure known as primary protonema. Okay. Sometimes it breaks into small fragments. Fragment means small pieces. Sometimes it breaks into small fragments either accidentally or due to death of some cells in between them. Okay, when the primary protonema cut into small pieces, the next point, the fragments bears buds. The fragment bear buds, and each bud develops into an erect gametophytic plant body. Okay, primary protonema develops due to germination of the spore. When accidentally primary protonema cuts into small fragments or small pieces, each small piece having ability to regenerate, and it produces the new gametophytic plant body of the Funaria. Now second type, secondary protonema. Under favorable climatic conditions, secondary protonema may be formed on injured rhizoids, stems, leaves or reproductive structures. Okay, primary protonema develops after germination of spores, and secondary protonema develops in injured condition of rhizoids, stems, leaves and reproductive structures. Okay, like primary protonema, it bears buds which are capable of growing into erect gametophytic plant body. When this birds secondary protonema developing from the injured rhizoid stem and leaves, they having ability to regenerate and produce new individual gametophytic plant body of the Funaria. Then sexual reproduction. Funaria is a monoecious. Means what? That is, male antheridium and female archegonium reproductive structures develops on different branches of the same plant. Plant is the single, but single plant having many branches, and their branches produces the antheridia as well as the archegonia, and these antheridia and archegonia develops on the different branches, not on the single branch. These antheridia and archegonia cannot develop on the single branch. They can develop on different branches of the same plant. Okay, so this is the sexual differentiation, that is the monoecious in the Funaria. Now the antheridium. Antheridia are born in groups. See in the first photograph, these antheridia are develops in the groups. Okay, at the expanded convex apex of the main axis. These antheridia develops on the groups on the tip of the main axis. हे कुठे येतात? मेन ॲक्सिसच्या टिपला येतात. नंबर 2, they are surrounded by a rosette of spreading leaves called as perichaecium. These antheridia are always covered by the rosette of spreading leaves called as the perichaecium. Okay, the antheridia covers by the perichaecium. They are leaves like structures. Number 3, a large number of long multicellular capitate hairs, the paraphyses, are intermingled with the antheridia. Along with the perichaecium, the paraphyses also present on the antheridial branch. Okay. Number 4, the mature antheridium has a long multicellular stalk. Mature antheridium having long multicellular stalk and a club shaped body. The body of the antheridium is the club shaped. Okay, red or dark orange color. The color of the antheridium is red or dark orange. Number 5, a single layered antheridial jacket encloses a large mass of androcytes. Okay, androcytes means androgonal cells. The androcytes are present in the antheridium. Androcytes also called as androgonal cells or sperm mother cells, and these androcytes produces the sperms. Number 6, many spirally coiled biflagellate antherozoids are released by antheridium. Okay, in this way the many biflagellate antherozoids are released by the antheridium. See, this is the antheridial branch. At the tip of the branch, many antheridia are develops. These antheridia are further covered by the paraphyses as well as the perichaecium. Okay, now this is the single antheridium in B diagram, and single antheridium which is the club shaped, which is covered by sterile jacket layer, and the body of the antheridium made by many androgonal cells, and these androgonal cells produce many haploid antherozoids, also called as spermatozoids or sperms. They are also called as male gamete, and they are motile structure. They are biflagellated structures. So in this way, this is about the antheridium. What is the function of antheridium? They can produce the male gametes called as the antherozoids or spermatozoids. Then archegonium. The archegonial, point number 1, the archegonial branches arise laterally at the base of the male branch. Male branches, antheridial branches, always at the terminal position or upper position, and towards its lateral side the archegonial branches are there. The number 1, archegonial branches arise laterally at the base of the male branch. Okay. Number 2, archegonia are born in groups like the antheridium. at the apex of these branches. Antheridia and Archegonia are develops similar like the antheridial archegonial branch. They are further covered by the perichaecia as well as by the as well as the paraphysis. Antheridia and Archegonia further covered by the paraphysis and the perichaecia. Okay, number 5. The mature archegonium has a massive stalk. Mature archegonium has a massive stalk, a swollen venter, and an elongated neck. The parts of the archegonium are: at the base there is a swollen venter, and at the tip there is a neck. Okay. Number 6. Archegonium is covered by sterile jacket layer. Further, it is covered by the sterile jacket layer, which is the peculiarity of the bryophytic Antheridia and Archegonia. Number 7. The venter contains a venter canal cells and an egg. In the venter canal cell is there, and at the base of the venter there is an egg which is haploid having the female nucleus, also called as the female gamete. Okay, see the enlarged diagram of the archegonium. See B diagram. Basal swollen structure is there and upper neck is there. So the single archegonium is the flask shaped structure. Basal venter, upper neck, and at the base there is a small stalk. Okay, neck contain neck canal cells and venter contains venter canal cell, and at the base there is a single non-motile non-flagellated egg having the female nucleus, and mouth of the archegonium is covered by the cover cells. So this is the body structure of the archegonium, matured archegonium. Okay, now the next point, that is the fertilization. Number 1. Rain or dew water usually accumulated in antheridial and archegonial clusters or branches helps in fertilization. Here water is essential for the fertilization. Okay. Number 2. The apical cell of the antheridium absorb water and bursts. काय होतं इथं? Apical cell of the antheridium absorb the water and it will ruptures. Number 3. The spirally coiled biflagellate antherozoids releases or escape from the antheridium. When antheridium ruptures or it will bursts, then spirally coiled many biflagellated antherozoids or sperms or male gametes can be releases. Number 4. At the same time, the neck canal cells and venter canal cells of archegonium degenerate and form a mucilaginous mass. At the same time, what happen in the archegonium? The neck canal cells and the venter canal cell degenerate and mucilaginous substance is formed. Okay. Number 5. Entry of antherozoids into archegonium is due to chemotactic influence of mucilaginous substance present in the neck. Chemotactic influence means what? Due to smell of the mucilaginous substance, the sperms or male gametes are attracted toward the archegonium. Okay, and due to inner pressure of the mucilaginous substance, the cover cells of the archegonium separates and the mouth of the archegonium opens, and due to mucilaginous substance the sperms are easily entered in the archegonium. Number 6. Although a large number of antherozoids enter into the neck of the archegonium, only one of them fuses with the egg. At the same time, many sperms are entered in the archegonium, but on first come first serve basis, firstly going antheridium reaches toward the egg and fuses with the egg, and haploid male nucleus present in the sperm, haploid female nucleus present in the egg fuses and diploid zygotic condition is formed and zygote is develops in the archegonium. Okay. Now sporophyte. Number 1. The diploid zygote formed by the fusion of the antherozoid with the egg is the first cell of the sporophytic division. In sporophytic division, the first cell is diploid zygotic condition is formed. Okay. Number 2. The zygote soon secretes a wall around itself and increases in size before dividing. Okay. This zygote secretes wall around itself and increases its size. Okay. Then from the division of this zygote, the sporophytic structure develops in the Funaria. Number 3. The mature sporophyte is much more complex. In case of Hepaticopsida, in compared to Hepaticopsida and Anthocerotopsida, in mosses, in Bryopsida, the sporophytic structure is more complex. Okay. Number 4. It is differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. In case of Rixia, we observe that the sporophytic structure having only capsule, but in case of Funaria, these three structures are present: foot, seta and capsule. Number 5. The foot is a small dagger-shaped conical structure embedded in the archegonial chamber. Where this sporophytic structure is developed? On the gametophytic plant body previously where the archegonium is present. In archegonium, the sexual reproduction takes place at the same position. Zygote is develops and zygote further goes in the cell division and it produces the sporophytic structure. Okay, so that the sporophytic structure develops on the gametophytic plant body. Okay. Number 6. The seta is long, slender, more or less twisted and stalk-like structure which support the capsule at its distal end. What is the use of seta? It is a stalk of the capsule. Okay. Then what is the use of this seta? Why the seta is more long in the mosses? Okay, for easy dispersion of the spores. Why more seta is more long in the bryophyte in the mosses? For easy dispersion of the spores. Number 7. The capsule is slightly oblique. Oblique is the structure. It is erect and green when young but becomes bright orange and cured at maturity. Okay, and capsule produces spores and this capsule is also very complex compared to the Rixia. Okay. Number 8. At maturity, capsule breaks and spores can releases. Spores on germination produces protonema. Okay. In case of Rixia, after spore germination, direct gametophytic plant body is develops. But in case of Funaria, the after spore germination, first protonema is develops and later on the gametophytic plant body develops from the protonema. रिक्षामध्ये आपण काय बघितलं? स्पोर जर्मिनेट झाला आणि त्याच्यापासून डायरेक्ट गॅमेटोफायटिक प्लांट बॉडी तयार झाली. पण फ्युनारियामध्ये तसं होत नाही. मग फ्युनारियामध्ये स्पोर जर्मिनेट झाल्यानंतर काय होईल? तर प्रोटोनेमा तयार होईल आणि प्रोटोनेमा म्हणजेच काय आहे? ज्युवेनाइल स्टेज ऑफ द गॅमेटोफायटिक प्लांट बॉडी किंवा इनिशियल स्टेज ऑफ द प्लांट बॉडी गॅमेटोफायटिक प्लांट बॉडी आणि ते मॅच्युअर झाल्यानंतर त्याच्यापासून काय तयार होणार? तर नवीन गॅमेटोफायटिक प्लांट बॉडी. एवढा फरक आहे फक्त. Okay. Now alternation of generation. Alternation of generation, we are starting from the gametophytic plant body. Why? Because it is a dominant plant body. It is a long-lived plant body. It is a typically green plant body. It is nutritionally independent plant body. Okay, so it is a main plant body in the bryophytes. So we are starting with the gametophytic plant body. Okay. Gametophytic plant body produces antheridial branch as well as the archegonial branch. At the antheridial branch produces antheridia and on archegonial branch produces archegonia. Antheridia produces sperms also called as male gametes. Archegonia produces egg, it is called as the female gamete. Sperm means male gamete having the male nucleus which is haploid, and egg having the female nucleus which is again haploid. Haploid sperm and haploid egg fuses and diploid zygotic condition is formed. In this way, diploid phase is develops in the life cycle of the Funaria. This diploid zygote further goes in the cell division and it forms the small embryo which is inconspicuous in nature, and that embryo further develops the sporophytic structure. In sporophytic structure, the foot, seta and capsule, all three parts are there. And sporophyte having at the tip of the sporophyte there is a capsule also called as the sporangium, and it produces the spores. Okay, and spores are meiospores. Why meiospores? Because they develops after the meiosis. Meiosis takes place in the sporogenous tissue. Sporogenous tissue present in the capsule. In young capsule, sporogenous tissue is the diploid. That diploid tissue going in the meiosis reduction division. In this way, many haploid spores are developed in the sporangium or capsule. Okay. When at maturity of the capsule, bursts or it will dehisces, and after bursting of the capsule, many spores are releases. When they settle down on the suitable substratum, when they get the favorable condition, they start germination, and in germination, firstly they produce the protonema, which is the juvenile stage of the Funaria, and later on the gametophytic plant body produces from the primary protonema. Okay, in this way, this is the life cycle pattern or alternation of generation of the Funaria. Thank you.